I hope you're ready to take the plunge here in Event 14 of the 2020 Marble League, sponsored by Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. Event 14, the Aquathlon. Hey everybody, I'm Greg Woods. What is an Aquathlon? I hear you asking that question. Well, it's a hybrid event where you have a sprint down the track, just like we had in the normal sprint, but then the marbles will plunge into the water for a run down to the finish line. As you've seen in other aquatic events, that can be very treacherous no matter how short the run. Two teams will go head-to-head, starting off in their own lanes. Once it is that sprint to the finish, it is the third marble to cross the finish line that determines the time. So you can lose one, but otherwise you have to stay as a team. It will be a tournament-style format, pure as can be, even with a third-place consolation match. Our first runs, the Green Ducks and Balls of Chaos. Let's see how this will go. Balls of Chaos with an early lead, but everything changes when you get to the water. In fact, there it changed even before they got to the water because the Green Ducks took the lead. You're watching for the third marble. That will be the one to trip the finish line, and thus far it's Balls of Chaos trying to play catch-up as they split the Green Ducks, and it will be a close match. In fact, nearly all of the Balls of Chaos were right there, but the Green Ducks get them by 18/100ths of a second. You'll see the green circle indicating the winning marble, the red circle indicating the losing marble. This is going to be tricky. If all of them were that close, my goodness. Savage Speeders taking the lead here. They're nice and bunched, those top three. But as you drop into the water, sometimes that can be to your detriment because you'll land on top of each other and might shoot you backwards. So far, these Savage Speeders are out in front. In fact, all four of theirs are going to cross before the third marble for the Hornets. It's a half a second win by the Speeders. Now remember, in this tournament-style structure, you don't have to get a super fast time. You just have to beat the other team. Crazy Cat's Eyes and the Bumblebees. The Cat's Eyes sitting in fifth among that gaggle up there in the top for a podium spot. Bumblebees had a great showing last time, but are still down in the order a little ways. They jumped 3 spots up to 11th, but can they do better here? They do get by the Crazy Cat's Eyes, but only just. Watch on that top lane. That trio of Crazy Cat's Eyes may threaten to steal this one away, and did they? The Bumblebees get it by 6/100ths of a second. That was so close. Not even a length between them. It's difficult also because you can see the reflections down below. I know that can trip some people up, so watch on the top side. Team Galactic and Momo. Galactic with an early lead on the land portion. Now they dive into the water. A little drafting going on. We've seen how treacherous these currents can be, but also the power of the draft. Who's going to get it here? 3 marbles up in front. I think it's Momo. And it is the same gap that we just had, in fact. 6/100ths of a second, and only by a nose. Team Momo down in 9th in the standings. Galactic all the way up in 6th. Raspberry Racers and Mellow Yellow, kind of the polar opposites of the ends here. The Racers were up on top early, but they've slowly been dropping down the order, now currently in 7th. Mellow Yellow cannot win, and they can't even qualify in the top 3 and auto-qualify either. But they're in a solid line here, but trailing the top 3 marbles from the Racers. Nobody's going to make the move, and the Racers will coast on home. They will advance to the next round by well over a second and a half. 2 bronze medals for Mellow Yellow, not enough to get them off the bottom spot. Minty Maniacs and the Hazers, 2 top half of the order teams. And Minty Maniacs slow out of the gate to start. But a little separation for the Hazers could give them a little opening. And here come the Minty Maniacs. Those top 3 for the Hazers still holding the lead. Watch that top marble. Needs to gain some ground if they're hoping to advance, and they're not going to do it. The Hazers get on by. 8th place team wins by half a second. Pretty good gap as well. Not even close. The O'Rangers and the Oceanics, latter of whom has captured gold, captured silver, and captured bronze at least once in this tournament. The Rangers, they've done multiples of each and lead the overall Marble League. They've done so well in the last few events. Are they going to keep that up here? All 4 of their marbles are in front of the Oceanics, but now the tides change just a little bit. They're swarmed by the Oceanics. The top 2 got across, but this is going to be a photo finish. There's the 2 for the Rangers. Oh, look at this. The Oceanics may have done it. They did. 400ths. They win at least a heat of the water event. In fact, maybe it's a little sweeter because they've dethroned the #1 team in the Marble League. All right, on to the next event. Let's gather ourselves against the Thunderbolts and the Wisps. The Wisps clear out in front, almost a 4-marble lead. Thunderbolts needing to get something going. It's not going to happen. The Wisps will advance quickly. I'm just still kind of chuffed about the Oceanics in a water event. The crowd is as well. That was an easy win for the Wisps. All right, let's see who advances to the quarterfinals and who gets left behind. It will be the Green Ducks and the Savage Speeders to get things started here. Is this last year's Marble League? All right, Savage Speeders and the Green Ducks, far lane to the near lane, respectively. Speeders just slightly quicker out of the gate, but everybody's staying pretty bunched, at least among the top 3 for the Savage Speeders, and everything changes once they plunge into the water, streaking downward. Everybody is right there. This might be too close to call as well. As the teams start weaving from side to side, everybody's getting mixed up. Did the Speeders just get it? I think they might have. By 1800ths, the Savage Speeders are moving on. Green Ducks down in 12th in the order, could have used a shot at the semifinals. But the Savage Speeders shut that down. They are focused on closing that gap to the Rangers now that orange team is out. Momo with the lead in the next semifinal. Oh, hard hit as they come into the water, throwing marbles side to side. The Bumblebees are trying to make up some ground. Their top 2 are well out in front of the rest, and it's 3 marbles for Momo, who will get the win. 6500ths. Momo just kept it close enough that they could use the draft, whereas the Bumblebees were all spread out. Quarterfinal C of the Aquathlon. Hazers, just a step quicker out of the gate, but the speed is not sustained. The Raspberry Racers will drop their 3 into the water first, but everybody is right there, all within a few lengths. Speed from the Hazers. They take the lead. But it's going to be really close. Watch up top, those 2. Oh, they bump into each other. Is that going to slow them down just enough to give the Racers the win? No! The Hazers capture it barely. Look at how close that was. Even with that collision between the 2 Hazers, up top, they kept it together. The Midnight Wisps and the Oceanics in the final quarterfinal. So close between them, a slightly tighter formation, but a nice launch perhaps off of each other from the Oceanics. They're trying to give chase. Wisps out in front, watch to the bottom side, and oh, that's going to be close as well. Under 2/10, but the Wisps will end the Oceanics' dream of perhaps winning a water event. Everybody was moving side to side in that one. Did the Oceanics have put it together at the end? I think they'll be wondering that for quite some time. So it will be Savage Speeders and Team Momo, Hazers and the Midnight Wisps vying for a spot in the final. Momo in the far lane, Speeders in the near. And they're off. Momo, 1 step quicker. But here come the Speeders on the bottom lane. They're getting separated, though. That may not help them, but a great entry into the water. Nearly all 4 Speeders were out in front. Momo putting it back together, though, trying to claw that speed back. But this trio, now quartet of Speeders, will cross the line before anybody else. A stamp of authority. The Savage Speeders are on to the final. Not even close. Momo thought they got off to a great start, but unable to sustain it. The second semifinal, the Hazers and the Wisps. Oh, what happened there? We've had a starting gate failure. It's a false start. Hopefully they're able to cordon those marbles before they get too far down the course. They dry them off if they made it into the water, and they're going to be off again. The Wisps with a 3-marble lead, nearly a 4-marble lead before they enter the water. But the Hazers, this is where they have excelled in the last couple of aquatic events. Using a bunch formation up top, the Midnight Wisps are trying to seal off the Hazers from getting by them. This is going to be really close, but the Wisps get it. 800ths. How did this happen with everybody up there? That bunched formation actually doing more to serve as a roadblock, I think, to stop the Hazers from getting by, and it barely worked. The Speeders and the Wisps will advance. Let's watch Team Momo and the Hazers in the 3rd place match to see who gets the bronze. Momo and the Hazers, 1 point apart in the standings, and it's the Hazers who will enter the water first. And great speed throughout. In fact, they bump one of Momo out of the way. A 4-marble lead. Can they hold on to it? They will. It will be bronze for the Hazers. They were 1 point ahead of Team Momo, and they will stretch that lead. Good teamwork. Haze Amaze at a bronze. But now, the final. The Savage Speeders and the Midnight Wisps. 2 of our top 4 teams. And it's the Wisps out to a short lead, but it's going to be evened up and surpassed by the Speeders as they go into the water. But things flip as they gather themselves underneath. It's the Wisps out in front. Can the Speeders put some speed together? This is going to be close. A dive to the inside. I'm not sure who got it. It's going to be a photo finish. Great moves. Don't be watching the first few marbles, watching that next little wave, because that's who made the difference. Going into the middle there, catching the draft of the top 2. The Wisps are gold medalists.
Congratulations to today's winners. The Hazers
by 1/100th of a second, the Midnight Wisps get the gold in the Aquathlon over the Savage Speeders. The Hazers come in 3rd with the bronze. Everybody's still sopping wet up on the podium, but the Wisps don't mind at all. Gold medalists, and for their efforts, a $5,000 donation will be made to the St. Mary's Food Bank, courtesy of Last Week Tonight. Now the gaps come down just a little bit up front between the O'Rangers and the Savage Speeders. The Wisps vault up into 3rd, and look at the colors there, up to 5th, unable to win the Marble League. The next event, the Collision. Thanks for watching the Marble League 2020, sponsored by Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. So long, everyone.